Hello, everybody. Welcome to the training, learning, and development community. Happy Friday to you, wherever you are. Thanks for joining us this morning. I know we do have a nice group of folks already in. Let's see, we got Kim is in. Yes. Quetzal, Gina, Tom. Nice to see you, Janine. Thanks for joining us today. Today we've got Alan Natachu in our member showcase. And I think a lot of you know who Alan is. For those of you that don't, you're in for a treat. Alan has been a great support of TLDC for a while now. Fantastic learning experience designer, very technical. He's done like broadcasts with us about VR, about mostly like tech focused stuff, media focused stuff. What are you? Formerly, you're an actor, right?
Past life, yes.
Past life actor, used to work at Apple. You've
Mhm.
done all sorts of interesting things, and I had the privilege to meet you at the last live event that TLDC produced. So I'm so glad that you're taking the time out to join us and letting us ask some questions about who you are versus just like focusing on like how to set up 30 VR headsets for a classroom. So this is going to be fun. And just so you guys know, I am actually I'm at my mom's place. This is weird. I'm in my mom's office. I know everything is different. My camera's different. My headset, all this stuff. We wanted to get out of the fires for a little bit in Northern California, so we're here at my mom's, and we're just gonna get some fresh air for a change, and then head back home.
Yeah, in my house, we're working from home. I got 2 kids. I got my wife. We're all working on the computers. And right now it's a madhouse. So refuge in the car, just outside of the house. Wi-Fi is good and it's quiet. I can't hear my neighbors doing their own yard work or construction work. So it's good.
That is hilarious. That's actually something we should all probably consider for some of these broadcasts, is to just get into your car and and do the interview from there. So if you don't mind, Alan, I'm just going to jump into it because we got 30 minutes to do this, and I want to know, what are you working on right now? Look, you're at exact sciences, right? A learning experience designer at exact sciences. What do you got going on?
I've been doing a lot with rapid e-learning development tools. That has where I came from previously. I used to work with Madison Area Technical College. I was a trainer there, and that's where a lot of my tech skills came into play, like setting up VR headsets and troubleshooting. But I didn't have a chance to play with rapid development tools. And so now it's kind of like, okay, I got to relearn how to do this, but using the tools that they provide. For instance, saying, okay, I got PowerPoint, I got Camtasia, and I got my iPhone. What can I do? So yeah, so it's relearning the tools, more the proper e-learning tools. I say proper. Every tool is the proper e-learning tool if you know how to use it right.
Nice. So Camtasia and PowerPoint. Anything else that you're using for rapid development?
Let's see, Storyline, the Office Suite, and I made a transition from Final Cut Pro to Adobe Premiere Pro and the Adobe Creative Suite. That's been a relatively large learning curve because of how they file manage stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Are you liking it? Are you liking that switch at all, or?
I miss Apple.
So wait, are you on a Windows platform?
I'm on a PC, for work.
Oh yeah.
Versus in the previous position, I had access to both PC and Mac, and if someone came in with their device, we would work with that.
Yeah. That is always a challenge for folks that are like, migrating platforms. I know I used to be pretty much all Windows, and then when I started working my latest job, I ended up moving to Mac, and now I'm like, oh man, what I don't know if I could ever go back, which is really surprising for me. Like, I never thought that I would say that. I honestly never thought. So, learning experience designer, what is the favorite part of what you do?
The favorite part of what I do is now I get to work closely with people who want to create learning and training, whereas before At my previous employer, it was a lot of I get to work with one person on an individual course because I was in higher ed and help them get that released to students. Whereas with this, I have a greater impact on uh, what I do for a company.
Interesting.
So
Wow.
yeah,
Huh.
I had great impact with the students, but I was never able to see what happened with the students. I would hear good things from the instructor, but I would never hear back from a student directly. And here I get to hear from people who've taken the course and get the feedback, both positive and areas to improve. And that's been actually kind of a game changer for me because,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. Previously, I didn't know where it went, and now I know where it's going to go. And I get the feedback of how it could be made better or if they enjoyed it or other things.
I've never heard that distinction before. I mean, it seems kind of obvious, but it's new to me. So, and I think that's fascinating. Is this so? Do you have a preference now? I mean, is this environment a little more appealing to you than the higher ed environment?
Both have its pros and cons. In the
Yeah.
higher ed, I felt like I had a lot more uh, flexibility in terms of platforms, tools that I use, and uh, people coming in were just from all sorts of different academic areas. I worked Madison Area Technical College was a tech school, so we had a lot of like HVAC, diesel, the trades, and then
Mhm.
we had nursing, and then we had basic education, and then we had hard science. Um, with this, it's a lot of I'm working a lot with HR functions and working a lot with departments and getting their stuff off the ground and making sure that the message they want to send is clear and concise. And it's been a change, and I do like them both. I don't have a preference yet.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've been working with exact sciences for less than a year.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yeah, no, it's been a relatively new change for you. Like
Mhm.
Kim is saying, feedback from real learners, the holy grail of ID. So yeah, I totally agree. Is there anything that you wish you had known before you started out? How about let's turn this one into a two-parter. Before you started at Exact Sciences in the, kind of the corporate world, anything you wish you had known prior to starting that you know now?
I wish I had a more formal background. It doesn't have to be in like a master's or a bachelor's in design, but more of the theory behind it. If I had a better understanding of that, because that's an area that I lack. Uh, in my previous position, yeah, I was really awesome with the tools. I was really awesome troubleshooting
Mhm.
because that's part of the nature of the beast. What you got? I'll work with it. We'll see what we can make it work. And now it's like, okay, I have some tools available to me that are
Mhm.
reliable. Now, how do I make it all flow and meet the standards of the different ID theories?
Wow. So, do you think that there's anything that, if you could, before you started this journey as an instructional designer, is there the things that you wish you had known? Are they along the same kind of lines? Or if you could talk to yourself before you became a trainer and say, hey, do this before you start this journey, is there any advice you'd give yourself?
Trust in yourself and be confident in what you do. You're going to make mistakes. That's
Mm,
something that I didn't really allow myself to be confident or allow myself to make mistakes until like 3, 4 years ago.
mhm.
And that's when I started really investing in my PLN, started making uh, contacts beyond just my sphere at the college.
Mhm. Mhm. And just kind of get reaching out and talking with people and just building your network.
Hmm.
Yeah, I've always,
And
I've always wanted to have that conversation with people. Just like how important has that been for you?
it's been one of the most sanity saving things that I ever done professionally.
Hmm.
It has also been one of the most fun things professionally I've done because I got to meet with so many people. I got to interact with a lot of people. I
Hmm.
also get to yeah, do chats and have fun and at the same time learn. I love that. Um, one of the things for me one of my personal philosophies is to try to teach and try to help people learn. Um, and with the PLN that I got myself involved with, or the people that I keep in contact with, I really appreciate that I could do that for them, and I feel that they could do that for me.
Yeah. No, that's
And
great. Oh, go
yeah,
ahead.
and lately I've kind of dropped off my my professional social media, even my personal social media, because when COVID hit, I really took a step back and was trying to really protect my mental health.
Mhm,
So
mhm.
now I'm still kind of edging in, trying to keep myself sane.
Yeah.
But yeah, I still love y'all. You know,
Yeah.
I haven't dropped out completely. I just want to let you know that, you know, hi, miss you. I'll be back soon.
You're definitely still around, Alan. No, I get it. It's like, even for me, like, one of the things, since I, took off from home, it's like my whole thing this weekend and for a few days after is I'm just gonna like turn off everything and not go online for a little while, because I just need a break. And it is, that mental health piece is like so vital, so important. And yeah, no, I totally agree with you. Nice. So let's talk about sort of your background. As we all kind of know you as kind of a learning geek. You have, like, just lots of tool recommendations, and like, I'm kind of thinking about Tom McDowell, who I just interviewed this week, and who's in the chat right now. He's kind of the same thing, like kind of a tool person, and on the geek side. But what are, like, some tools, like 3 tools that you can't live without right now, especially now that you've moved to the PC side?
Ooh, good one. All right. These revolve around my iPhone. uh, Giggle snort. Um, well, the first thing is the actual device itself, because if I need to be on the go, I could work from there. I use it as a modem if I don't have good Wi-Fi reception. There's a good 2 weeks here around the house where our modem just crapped out on us, and we were trying to get people coming in from our ISP to come in and diagnose it and fix it. So that was a 2 week ordeal, but I did not have any internet, so I was using that. I was going to our library to connect to our Wi-Fi. So yeah, I use that thing a lot, especially since now I'm working from home. Um, the next tool for me would be uh, Epoch Cam, EPOC Cam. It's a free and paid app that allows you to turn your iPhone or Android device into a webcam. When work from home started becoming big, everyone started selling out of webcams. So I was trying to figure out a way to get a decent webcam, but I wasn't willing to pay eBay prices, and I wasn't willing to wait. So I did some research and found that this software, and it works pretty well.
Wow.
With an iPhone, you could be connected directly to the PC and use that as your webcam, or you could be connected via Wi-Fi, and you can adjust your frame rate and your size. So that's been my number two tool. My third one is another iOS related tool. I'm sorry, I haven't found an Android equivalent, but it's called Duet. It allows me to take an iPad and turn that into a second screen
Ah.
and connect it to my PC, and then that becomes a second screen on my PC.
Oh, I love it. Yeah. No, I've I've actually heard of that one, and some people are just like, cannot live without that particular app.
Mhm.
That's just such a huge thing. But I don't think, like, I think the iPad that I have, at least the full size one, is like, I think the iPad 2. But I think, I'm not sure it works with that one, but I definitely would like to give that one a try at some point. No, those are 3 great ones, and thank you, Toddy, for posting the link to the Epoch app in there. I'm going to have to check that out. Excellent. Let me see. And I've got some other great questions in here right now. Like, so Exact Sciences, are there any skills that you're building right now to help you do your job better?
Well, the rapid e-learning tools, I find that that's been a real struggle point for me, because I'm like, oh, I could do this in this tool, and I could do it with that tool, and my mind just goes off in a rabbit hole. Like, oh yeah, I could do this, but no, I got to bring it back and focus. I could do it within this tool. had to remember, oh, this tool's at my disposal. I'm thankful for that. The second thing is the work from home element. When COVID hit, a lot of employers, including my own, had sent their employees to work from home for a certain amount of time. And being able to communicate with other people and keeping that kind of office cubicle or that that vibe of being next to a coworker, that's been that's a soft skill, but it's also a very important skill to try to keep connected with your with the people that you work with.
Nice. No, it's totally important. I love it. So right now, if there is a tool or service, I probably know how you're going to answer this one, but if there is something, a tool that you don't have right now that you wish you did, what is it?
Let's see. I would have to say increase storage space on a computer or mobile device. I am always running out of space. And I know I could connect a USB drive, I could connect to cloud drives, but when editing video, there's that satisfaction knowing that your project's on the computer, knowing that you're working at the fastest speed possible, and having everything local and not having to rely on a cloud render or having to rely on exporting out in a smaller video frame or smaller video size and then editing that and then recombining the edits with a larger video. Yeah, so that to me just like increased storage space. Wow. If I could have unlimited storage space on my device without having to connect to a cloud, I would be so happy. And so that's device agnostic. It doesn't matter PC, Mac, or mobile.
What is it? Tom is saying here, get a 10 gigabyte network server worth every penny when working video.
Never thought of that. I'm gonna check that out.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, it is. So are you're doing a lot of video still right now?
Not as much, but when I do, that's when it comes in play.
Just needing that space. I hear you. So let's talk about some projects that you work on. Is there anything in particular, like one that really stands out for you that you'd like to brag about?
I'm still learning the company code, so I can't really talk about many projects that I've done with the company. And with my previous employer, Madison Area Technical College, I would have to say it was the year that Pokemon Go came out. And we at that organization, they would do a yearly tech conference called Tech Academy, and we took the Pokemon Go idea and turned that into an entire theme, and we were able to do things like have people participate online. I believe that's when we first launched Goose Chase for the school. We were able to have a decent virtual platform before that was becoming a big thing. We were having class sessions in person and online. And yeah, did I mention we incorporated AR? No, I don't.
No, yeah, you didn't.
Yeah, but that was our second iteration of AR in that within that conference. So, well, previous year before we did some AR, but this one we added a little bit more and started building upon it. And that was probably the most intense, but also the most fun experience trying to get all those tools working together and actually pulling it off.
Yeah. It seems like, like just having talked to you and done stuff with you, it seems like you really like those activities that bring people together. You're a big fan. Like you brought, what was his name from Goose Chase? You did an interview with Goose Chase on TV.
Alishan. Yeah.
That's right. And just even when you talk about implementing sort of that VR program at Madison Technical College, just sort of like as a group, you really loved sort of discussing that and how it worked for everybody. And I really admire that about you. So what keeps you inspired? What keeps you going on this journey as an instructional designer?
A lot of talking with other instructional designers, a lot of other trainers to try to get their feedback. And lately it's been a lot of social media.
Mm.
Not necessarily social media for ID or training, but general social media, especially TikTok. Because
Mm.
I'm taking a look at that and I'm breaking it down and saying, okay, they do a lot of very interesting cuts. They're also just getting up there and recording. Uh, they are telling a story, and rather than saying click here to continue, it says like to follow for more. I'm just trying to think about, okay, how can I incorporate this style of media development into training?
Mm.
So,
That
oh, go
that
ahead.
that's fascinating, like to me, because I remember early on I went and still right when TikTok had migrated from being that sort of a music video app into its
Mhm.
current iteration, I was like checking it out. But then I knew that if I started watching stuff on TikTok, I would probably like be in there a lot. But people are doing really, really fascinating things in there. And it's probably, especially anybody that works with video, it's probably worth investigating. I don't know if Quetzal is listening and if he looks at TikTok stuff, or even Tom McDowell, but it is really interesting to me, that entire platform. Is it something that you actively participate in?
No, I'm a passive viewer.
Yeah.
If I start participating, I'm done. That's it. Because I want to so bad, but I know that will be such a time suck.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's built that way, right? To kind of be
Mhm.
a time suck. Like you just watch it and you just
Just
boom,
keep.
boom, boom. It just keeps going. So I'm on my smartphone enough as it is. What do you do to stay on top of your professional development?
Uh, I've well now it's been a lot of passive, uh, like podcast, listening to podcast, or watching video, or watching stuff that isn't quite LD but interesting. I am like the TikTok. I do find that very interesting, but I also find things like, oh, I see that sign. I'm going to take a picture of it. How can I use that as a design for a future infograph? So it's right now it's not very heavily course based, certificate based, or whatnot. It's just more of noticing what's around me and using that.
Hmm. Hmm. It's fascinating. Like I always like talking with people like you that have really that kind of creative, that natural sort of creative bend to them, but are also like geeks at the same time and love to
Mhm.
integrate their creativity with technology and seeing what they come up with. And you're definitely that type, and just fascinating. Um, so let's see. Oh, did you have some? Were you going to add some?
Oh no, I know.
Okay. What do you think is the most common misconception that people have about you?
Ooh, that's a loaded question. um, I think in the face-to-face environment, I could look pretty mean because
Yeah.
I'm just like thinking, or I'm really into the project I'm working on. You go ahead and tap on my shoulder. I'm not mean. I'm sorry I looked that way.
I would love to hear from anybody else if they think that Alan looks mean. I have never thought of you at all as being mean looking, but that's a crack up. So what do you think your best friend thinks you do for a living? Like, how would they describe what you do for a living?
Um, let's see. I think they would describe it as making uh, making videos and trainings all day in a cubicle with kind of like just like a very bare bones idea of what I do, and not necessarily the entire picture.
Right, right. Isn't that funny? And yeah. No, I love that question just because it's sort of like gets to the core of what people actually think instructional design or learning experience design is. It's just they're making training videos, and it's definitely a lot more than that. Yeah, hilarious. Um, what other? Let's talk about like the other kinds of jobs that you've worked.
Okay.
I already mentioned that you used to work for Apple, that you were an actor. Like, we go into detail with that a little bit.
All right. Let's take it a step back. Going back from my very first jobs. I did 10 years in retail. Part of it was with Apple, part of it was with KB Toys. So I have a lot of Black Friday sales under my belt. And that's where I kind of learned how to be calm under pressure, because nothing is scarier than seeing a line wrap around a store of tired, angry shoppers just wanting to check out. And for a while, I was also a taxi driver, driving people to and from. And I really don't like people who drink and drive. So I felt like, okay, this is something I'm serving the community, because I would work the late shift. That was also the very fun shift, because sometimes people would want to go through a drive-through and say, hey, do you want something? I'm like, yeah, let's do this. But I also did a stint as an actor, a filmmaker, video maker before YouTube. So this was all stuff that was short form, but also going to various film fests across the United States and Canada.
Wow.
I was also an artist. I did installation art. My biggest event was being a part of a project called, or exhibition called Remix, and it was about Native American art, and that got picked up by the National Museum of American Indian Smithsonian, and
Right.
the Heard Museum in Phoenix, and the Art Gallery of Ontario.
Wow.
So I had a lot of kind of creativity happening. I did a year stint as a grant writer. That was very hard, because that dealt with hard numbers and deadlines, and that was very hard on my psyche, because I can't deal that way. I don't really think that way. And then I stumbled into the training. I did a lot of tutoring in college. I did a lot of working with youth, at-risk youth, homeless, Native American youth, at-risk youth, while I was in college too, and even in high school. So that natural teacher element was in me, but I've never really nurtured it until I started working for Apple and started training for them. And then when I went into Madison Area Technical College, that started becoming even more nurtured. And now I'm like, I love what I do. So that's all that to say is that was a long path trying to figure out who I was and what I like to do, and I finally found it.
What a varied background. That is really interesting. I don't think nobody has mentioned yet anything about being a taxi driver. So that's a new one, and I love it. I actually work with a guy who used to be an Uber driver, and he's now a programmer, and that's kind of interesting, the conversations that we have about that. But that is totally fascinating. I love your journey. It's just so interesting to me, especially your stint in acting and just sort of like really exploring your the creative possibilities in your life. So if you weren't an L&D professional, what do you think you'd be?
Oh, wow. I really do like driving, and I do like listening to music. So I think I would be like something like a long haul truck driver or something like that.
If I wasn't an instructional designer, I'd be a long haul truck driver. That's amazing. I love that. That is really, really cool. All right. So, all right. We're at our 30-minute mark. Alan, thank you so much. Let me ask you this. What kind of music are you listening to right now?
I'm still on a soundtrack kick. I've been on it for the last year, listening to different soundtracks. I'm also getting into a lot of remixes. So I'm still listening to more techno electronica, or what did the kids call it now? EDM. It's not techno, it's not electronica. What do they call it now? And a lot of parodies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we got a new Google screen thing for the kitchen, whatever that device is called, hey Google, and then it answers you. But my kids have started listening to a lot of children's music, specifically my 5-year-old, and that brought back my love of parody music. Like, I heard the Duck song for the first time, and I'm like, wow, yes, I remember I used to love this kind of stuff.
Wow. No,
Hmm.
I'm afraid to even ask what the duck song is, because then I'll probably, then I'll probably introduce it to my 6-year-old, and then that it would just be on repeat over and over again. But I do have to say, the thing about soundtracks is that I love listening to, like, while I'm working, is that I feel like I'm like watching a movie while I'm working. If I listen
Hmm.
to like a soundtrack I'm really familiar with, and time just flies by, and I can actually be productive and sing along to, whatever, something cheesy like the Grease soundtrack, which I probably shouldn't have said that, which just reveals how nerdy I actually am.
It's all right.
Um,
Grease too, I would question things, but Grease, it's all right.
Hey, thanks, Alan. I appreciate that. Hey, where can people get a hold of you? I think you're sort of edging in and out of social media, given
Yeah.
the times we are living in nowadays. But if people wanted to reach out to you, where can they find you?
At Twitter, I'm at Natachu. You can find me, Alan Natachu, on LinkedIn, Alan.Natachu on Instagram.
Nice. All right, and I'll post those links in there after we wrap up here. Alan, thanks so much for spending your Friday with us, or a part of your Friday with us. I'm so glad that we get to talk to you and learn more about you. It's always been a privilege to have you on the broadcast, and thank you so much for all your support. Everybody have a great weekend. I don't have anything quite scheduled for next week. Like I said, since I had the fires over the last couple of weeks, I've kind of been a little bit out of sorts, but things are settling down. I'm away from those fires now, so taking a break, and then I'll get back into making sure we have more programming. So everybody, thank you so much for joining us today. Alan, thanks again, and you guys have a great weekend. We'll see you next week at some point.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.